Let's get started. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us in today. Our inaugural Women's Summit under Open Global. It's my pleasure to invite my speakers, coaches, mentors, my team, and everyone else. Let's get over to the chat, guys, and just let us know where you're joining us from. I'm here from Toronto, and Rabia, where are you joining us from?
Hi, everybody. I'm joining from New York City. Nice to see everybody.
Donna, where are you?
I'm in Buffalo, New York. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Good evening. I don't know, some parts of the world. Zara, what time zone you are in, and what's the time there?
I'm in London, and it's 3 p.m.
No, it's good time. It's not kind of very late night, right? So anyway, it's my pleasure. It's my honor to have my co-host, Rabia Shafi, to invite her, introduce herself.
Sure. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining. So excited to be here and co-host the event. I'm Rabia Shafi, and I'm a PCC with the International Coaching Federation, and I've run my business in executive coaching and leadership development and culture change for nearly 9 years, and excited to have an engaging discussion with you all today. So thanks for having us here.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to make short sound check. So Rabia, would you walk us through the agenda, and then I will take a couple of minutes to have my introduction, and then we will go on with Tariq.
Absolutely. So we have an exciting action-packed agenda for all of you today. And we're trying to make it as engaging as possible. So do chime into the chat, and be sure to participate in all these parts. We're going to start off with our opening remarks and with Tariq Khan, and then we're going to get into our keynote session to kind of explore different aspects of women and leadership, of course, and future-proofing the growth. Then we're going to get into a panel discussion with folks from different areas of expertise and years of experience and perspectives. And then we're going to jump into breakout rooms, and we encourage you all to make sure you do stay online for the duration of that portion of our session. That's going to be a really cool chance for you all to connect with folks who are in and outside of the global community of Open, but really with different people around the world. So that's going to be a really fun one for you all to dive into. So we'll automatically break you out there. Then we have a fireside chat to dive into some deeper discussions around personal experiences and, of course, the evolution of women and leadership. Then we'll get into our keynote. And then we have our final remarks, and we should close right around 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And I think we can stick on for questions as needed afterward if anyone is interested in continuing the conversation. So
yeah, thank you so much. That was so sweet. You just it was breeze through the agenda. Thank you so much, Rabia. So my name is Naila. I'm in Toronto. It's a beautiful morning, little bit chilly, but it's very fresh outside. I just did a morning jog to get a little bit of my stress down, and I'm very, very happy that we are all here. So this year I had the honor to become the chair of Leading Women Initiative under the banner of Global Open. But before, Tariq, I welcome you to officially open the summit. And all yours, Tariq.
Thank you, Naila. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who has joined us. My special thanks goes to Naila. This looks like a very nice conference. Everyone just showed up. But she has been working tirelessly for days and nights for so many weeks and months. This takes a lot to take that leadership and deliver something. Naila, I'm really appreciative of everything that you're doing. It is less about me and most men on the call today. It's about our women leaders. I want to thank Rabia for co-hosting this. I know how busy she is shuttling between New York and Washington, D.C. Thank you, Rabia, for being a part of it. I also want to thank our leaders like Samina, one of the founding members of Houston, Zara Shah, who's our fearless leader in England, and how wonderful she has built the chapter. and all our guests who are joining us. But I also want to thank men, there are few who are joining us. Amir Chalisa, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Open Global, showing up just to show his support. Zulfi Jaffrey. So these are men who really walk the walk in the sense that we need our allyship. But why are we here today? That's the main purpose. The simple reason we are here today is we haven't fixed the problem. Women globally gets 83 cents for a dollar, where men gets paid $1. In US, 85% is the pay of, so gender pay parity is not there. And these are some of the most modern societies who have not fixed the problem. How do we fix the problem when 50% of the population consists of women, but their representation are not anywhere close where it should be? And Open is not completely immune to this. We have the same problem. If you look across, we have built a wonderful organization. Those of you who do not know about Open, our organization is almost 27 years old. It started in Boston. It's a nonprofit working group. And the purpose of the organization is very simple, to create a pipeline of future leaders and provide a networking and connection opportunities to people around the world. We have 16 chapters, one in Canada, 10 chapters in US. We have 3 chapters in Pakistan, and we have a chapter in England also. And now soon, inshallah, we'll be opening chapters in other parts of Europe and Middle East. But the main challenge remains the same. The world belongs to our next generation and women. So we have to, at Open, we are fully diligently working to ensure that we provide the opportunity and at least a level playing field to women of Open. This event is just an example of what we are trying to do. And I once again thank all of you. And Naila, thank you so much for your servant leadership. Now I would like to introduce someone that I've known for some time, who's also another great leader, Saira Madad. Saira is an advocate, a servant leader in public health. She has a very decorated background. She is the Chief Biopreparedness Officer for New York City. She has played a very critical role during COVID also. She's has been fellow with Harvard, MIT, Johns Hopkins, and many other institutions. Very decorated person, and someone that I'd always look up to. Sarah, thank you so much. Whenever we call you, you're always available, willing and able to be a part of it. And thanks for being a part of this, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Tariq, for those very kind remarks. And it's a pleasure to be here with you all this morning. And before I start my keynote, I'm going to apologize in advance just because I'm a little under the weather. So my voice is a little bit hoarse. I may take some water breaks in between as I share some thoughts and just some general sentiments with you all this morning. So again, assalamu alaikum and good morning. I want to, I think first start off by saying it's really truly an honor to be here among so many trailblazers, women and allies who aren't waiting for the future to happen to us, but are actively shaping it, and that's absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you the theme today, Leading Through Disruption, Women Shaping the Future of Work, Business, and Governance. It's not just a nice conference title, it's actually a mandate. It's a call to action. It's a reminder that when people shape this, we're shaping the century, and we are obviously plowing through it. We are making sure that we're leaving our mark not just in this world, but also for our future generations. And we're doing it with clarity, courage, and conviction. And it's just so amazing to see so many amazing females that again are just continuing to stand up and do more and more in our communities. And I want to share a couple of examples myself. And so first, I come, from the world of infectious diseases, preparedness, response, and biodefense. And in that world, disruption doesn't knock politely, it knocks the door down. Over the years, I've responded to more outbreaks than I've ever imagined when I first started in public health. I was part of the Ebola surge response team in Texas, standing up and polishing off protocols, running high-risk samples, wearing those bubble hazmat suits that you often see on TV and in movies, and going into what we call the hot zone, working in the thick of fear and stigma and uncertainty. When the United States saw its first ever Ebola cases back, in 2014 and 2015, I worked through one of the largest measles outbreaks in recent New York City history back in 2019. I responded to the rise of Zika, causing congenital Zika syndrome in infants, which was just horrifying to see and witness, and seeing this vector-borne illness, come to light. Wasn't a new virus, but it was reemerging here in the United States, where we had to very quickly pivot and understand, the impact to our pregnant women and the like. And of course, just like each and every one of you, I lived through every minute of the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the biggest tests of our healthcare system and our public health infrastructure, and frankly, our collective resilience. And there's one truth that has shown up again and again, and it's this: disruption doesn't break systems, it reveals them. And disruption doesn't create leaders, it actually exposes them. And what we've seen, especially in these last few years, is that women rise exactly in those moments of exposure. So I want to take you back to 2020. The pandemic was accelerating and fear was also accelerating. I was leading the special pathogens program at New York City Health and Hospitals, the largest public health system in the country. We were making high stakes decisions with very limited information, very limited national and federal support, and also limited resources. I had also just delivered my baby number 3, so I'll add I had very little sleep at that time as well. There were days when the weight of what was happening sat very heavy on my shoulders. Days when I looked at the numbers, the projections, the models, and the reality, and I thought, how are we going to get through this? I'll share, a quick moment where, as every morning, we would huddle and look at the numbers and see how many we admitted in the hospital versus how many that were also in the ICU and how many died the night before. These numbers, unfortunately, we all became numb to because they just kept growing and growing. And at one point in those morning huddles before I went off to see my team, my husband was over here in one of those conversations, and I kind of look over to him and I see him sobbing, and I couldn't understand what happened. So after I concluded one of my team calls at 7 a.m. before I headed over to the hospital, I asked him, what happened, and he said, how could you not get so emotional when you hear these numbers and you're hearing the number of newly admitted cases, the number of people that are dying, the number of people that are in the morgue. So it was obviously a very devastating moment. But what I learned and what became so crystal clear is that leading through fast change isn't about knowing everything. It's about bringing calm to chaos. In crisis response, panic is contagious, but so is composure. And time again, women demonstrate what I call operational calm, the ability to absorb complexity, filter out the noise, and zero in on what exactly matters. During COVID, that calm looked like coordinating guidances across frontline teams, supporting exhausted staff, reassuring anxious friends and family, and balancing science with humility and humanity. That duality, logic and empathy, made all the difference. And I remember all this was also happening while I was on nearly every major news outlet in the country, from CNN, MSNBC, NPR, and doing live interviews in the middle of the night for international media outlets. I'd be wrapping up a 12-hour day responding to the pandemic and then hopping on a 3 a.m. interview for BBC or Al Jazeera because people needed credible, clear, science-driven information in real time. And there was no pause button from any of us. And in moments like that, I leaned on something I've written about extensively. At the core of every emergency, whether it's a hurricane, an outbreak, or a global pandemic, there are 3 things: communication, coordination, and collaboration. These aren't just strategies, they're actually lifelines. I've seen women embody all 3 in ways that are profound. During COVID, there was an unspoken bond of sisterhood, a strength that doesn't always get acknowledged. We lifted one another, we held each other up, we shared burdens, we shared opportunities, we shared tears, and we shared victories. We were bent, yes, but we were not broken. Working 12-hour days that became 14, became 16, conference calls late into the night, site visits that blurred together, and computer screens full of weary faces. The pandemic tested us quite deeply. And still we showed up, we led anyway. And this was not just for the COVID-19 pandemic. These are experiences that really relate to all the different outbreaks that I've also responded to. But in particular, when COVID hit, and the speed at which we had to make decisions was staggering. Turning entire emergency departments into hot zones, opening up surge units, reassigning staff, supporting the movement of patients between hospitals, and adjusting guidance constantly as new evidence emerged. We gathered as much information as we could, as fast as we could. We brought experts into the room or into the Zoom meetings. We looked at situations from 30,000 feet and down into the trenches. And we asked, what is the best decision for the most people? What is the greater good? And then after the analysis, after all the consultations, and after all the forecasting, we had to honestly do the hardest part, which is we had to act. We had to pull the trigger, we had to execute, we had to move, we had to reassess, we had to pivot, and then we had to do it all over again. This is emergency management, and this is leadership under pressure. And women in particular were at the heart of it. Adaptability became our survival skill. An emergency is the only change that we know is constant. When we activated our Emergency Operations Center back in 2020, we had no idea what was coming, but we knew we had to be prepared. COVID did not care about timelines or protocols. It moved like a fast, unpredictable hurricane, and we had to adopt every single day. New data, new viral behavior, new clinical insights, and new staffing realities. For months and months on end, our system was activated. As I mentioned, our daily 7 a.m. data huddle calls just became something that we all just got immune to. Those surges that fell and rose again, it felt like Groundhog's Day oftentimes. But through every peak, every valley, every setback, we kept going, because the strength of a team comes from each individual, and the strength of each individual is magnified by the team. And when you zoom out beyond public health, the leadership lessons become even clearer. Women are still massively underrepresented in positions of power. In the United States alone, women make up 46% of all managers, which is up from 29% in 1980, but is absolutely still not equal. And globally, women hold only 30% of leadership roles, despite being nearly half the global workforce. And in the corporate C-suite environment, only 29% of women are in that C-suite level. And even lower than that, 7% are women of color. So when we talk about women bringing emotional intelligence, composure, systems thinking, and collaboration, these are really not just soft skills. They're core leadership competencies. These are the skills the world desperately needs. Innovation is another area where we all know women excel, especially under pressure. People think innovation happens when you have abundant time, resources, and money, but truly innovation is born from constraint, from moments when you have to rethink everything, moments you don't have anything and you have to figure out what to do. An example is, various PPE shortages and supply chain breakdowns that were constantly evolving, and then the changing of science. Innovation wasn't a buzzword during many of these outbreaks and pandemics that we've responded to. It was survival. And women led by asking 3 simple but powerful questions every time we had to innovate. And these 3 questions include, is it practical? Does it help people? And will it last beyond today? We see the system, the people inside it, and the future all at once. And because of that, we aren't just adapting to disruption, we're building the future through more flexible workspaces, more ethical governance models, and more resilient communities. So I want to share a few lessons I wish someone actually had given to me years ago, whether it was on a post-it note or something, but these are lessons that I had to learn oftentimes the hard way. And I hope that these lessons will resonate with each one of you. First, don't wait for permission. If you have 60% of the information, trust your gut with the other 40%. Second, build your coalition before you need it. Your relationships will be your resilience, and I can't tell you enough the importance of having that coalition behind you. Third, lead with both your heart and your head. People often say, keep emotions out of it. I say the opposite. Logic creates clarity, but empathy creates trust. And when you bring emotion to it, you're helping create that trust in people. Fourth, protect your energy. Burnout is so very real. Reset isn't a luxury. Rest isn't a luxury. It's a preparation. So it's really important that we do protect our energy and we triage and see how we can do some self-care. And fifth, speak up even when it's uncomfortable. And that's especially true when it is uncomfortable. So really, really important to, speak up and stay true to your principles and your values. And then sixth, as something that I've learned as a mom of four, leadership isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what matters most. Sometimes the most strategic word in your vocabulary oftentimes is not now, and it's okay to say not now. And here we are today living at the intersection of so many different threats: climate threats, technological acceleration, geopolitical tension, and endless public health and healthcare challenges. And these are not small disruptions. Oftentimes there's seismic shifts. And women are stepping up into roles that will shape what happens next. And I've seen it. I've seen women that have, are leading just massive projects, not only as heads of government, but leaders and CEOs, leaders in their own right. These are founders, they're policymakers, they're scientists, there's doctors, there's educators, they're community builders, they're innovators. They are truly the architects of tomorrow. But our work, as we know, is far from finished. We have to keep pushing boundaries. We have to keep challenging norms and designing systems that reflect the world we want, not the one that we want to inherit. Because the future of leadership won't be about controlling uncertainty. It will be about thriving in it. And for that future, the world doesn't just need women at the table. What we need is women at the head of the table, setting the agenda, driving the decisions, bringing people around the table that truly are the ones that we know are going to make an impact, that are shaping the systems and the lives all around us. And so before I conclude, I want to actually share one very quick slide, which is kind of my leadership toolkit. And these are some additional advice that, I want to just share, with you all, especially during times of uncertainty. And these are, I think, just good tools, just to keep in mind. And so I'm just going to quickly share my screen and share some of these strategies with you all. And so first is the 30-second power pause. And I do this all the time, which is a short pause before reacting. And this helps improve clarity in decision making. There are times where you're in the heat of the moment, you're responding to an incident, and you just really need to take a couple minutes to gather your thoughts and just to calm yourself and calm your nerves. And as I mentioned, panic is contagious, but so is composure. So if you're composed, that's how your team is going to react. So take that 30-second power pause. It's just so important. Second is the coalition of three. And this is so important, and I do this often. I encourage you to identify 3 people in your own circle who challenge your thinking, who advocate for you, and help you stay grounded. Research has shown that women with strong networks are twice more likely to reach senior leadership positions. So make sure that you build your coalition, as I've mentioned. And 3, the weekly courage habit. Do one thing each week you've been avoiding, whether it's speaking up in public, whether it's asking a question that you feel uncomfortable with, or even setting a boundary, but help foster that courage habit within yourself. And the 4th is that energy audit. Know what fuels you and what drains you. Women who manage their energy, not just their time, are 50% more effective in their leadership roles. And so we know time is everything, and so is your energy. So make sure that you look at what feeds your soul, and make sure that you cut away from things that take away from that energy that may not be very useful. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to the moderator. Thank you all so much for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was wonderful. I did not know which part I should have taken as notes, because it was all kind of like notes take worthy. Zara, are there any questions from the audience? I have a question as well, but if you see any
Please go
question.
ahead, Naila, first, and then I have a question as well.
Yeah. So that's my questions. At some stage you mentioned, Sarah, that you looked at your husband and he was kind of sobbing, and you were really calm and confident, and because you knew that there is so much at stake, and you have to be kind of that pause, which either you practiced, or is that your natural poise as a person? So which one is that? Is that practice, or you trained yourself to be like that?
I would say it came from experience. I certainly was not like that. And I feel like we have different phases of ourselves, right? So when I'm at work, when I'm in an emergency, it's something that I've learned and I've seen other leaders do. I've seen people that panic, and when they panic, I see everybody around them panic. And then I've seen leaders that are very well composed, that focus on what we know, what we don't know, and what we need to get done. And those are the leaders I found to be most effective. And so after seeing many of these different leadership models, those are some experiences that, I have brought back with myself and helped train myself to become, one of those leaders that are well composed and understand the importance of having confidence in the moment. You may not know everything, right? And many of us don't know everything, especially in these types of instances. But when you share, this is what we know, this is what we don't know, and bring the team in and empower them, it really helps create this culture of safety and that psychological support that is so extremely valuable and important. I will say, also as a mom of 4, my other phase is very different. If I clip my kids' nails and they start bleeding, I'm the first one to start crying because I feel really bad that I did it. So my mom, phase is very different than my professional phase, and that's completely okay.
And you said it so beautifully, that how quickly women pivot their roles, and that's what I was saying, that how we change between all these kind of different hats which we wear and juggle. Yeah, Zara, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Zara. That was very, very insightful. The question is, why is incorporating women's voices and leadership no longer just a matter of equity, but a strategic imperative for any organization that wants to remain relevant and thrive?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I will first, I'll answer that in 2 parts. One is not just about the data, right? We want to have gender parity. We want to have equality. As I mentioned, women make up more than half the workforce, but in C-suite positions, we're less than 30%. And actually, research has shown that when you have female leaders in these positions, we actually do twice as better than our male counterparts. And there's nothing against males. I think, obviously they play an instrumental role, but females in particular bring in this emotional intelligence and this operational calm that I've mentioned, which is just so important. And we see it time and time and again. When you look at leaders, and let's just take, I mentioned my experience in particular during the COVID pandemic, but if you look at female leaders that were leading governments during the time of COVID, you can see a very big difference between how female leaders responded and how it lowered the burden of illness, deaths, and hospitalizations versus their male counterparts in the same or similar role. And so it's really important that we do not only give women a chance, but also lift them up and empower them, because we know that they make amazing leaders with that emotional intelligence that they have, and their ability to connect people and bring in empathy and compassion and all these important leadership traits that are so vital to leading teams and high impact projects and the like. And so I would say, lastly, it's also about not just the data, but it's also the leadership skill set that they bring, and also helping foster that environment that we all want to thrive in, and females bring in all that ethos with them.
Excellent. Anyone has any other question? We have a couple of minutes before Sarah leaves. Donna, it looks like you're unmuted.
Oh, yes, I am unmuted, but I wanted to, as Sarah was saying, I could add to exactly what she was saying. Women have a perspective that's going to be in balance. There may be some tensions in some circumstances, but at the end of the day, a woman is going to be able to know when to counsel, when to coach, when to lead, when to step back. She's going to look at things from a perspective a lot differently from someone else, especially men. And we can see what's happening today. I'll go no further than that. But women overall have the flexibility and the adaptation to move everything forward in a different style and at a higher level.
Love it.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks a lot.